Indian football's future now has a plan. But how are the powers that be applying it to the current national squads? In part 2 of this series, we look at the immediate state of our national talent.
One of the main questions we've been asking a lot of people is, or hearing from a lot of people is, how long is this all going to take? I mean, we've heard 2022 for the World Cup, under 17s, and 2017, but that's a very general question. Mine's more specific. What stage are we on in terms of stages of success? Are we on track on the timeline at the moment?
We are not in track because we are very much restricted by financial problems and not enough support from the government. I think now slowly also the government starts to realize we need for kids to give them a safe environment. And kids cannot play on streets here. They cannot even play on beaches because it's with all the bottles broken and on dangers for their feet. So if we now create kids who have maybe a good mind, but they are not very healthy in their body, and they go to the McDonald's and they sit behind their laptops and their iPads and using their phones, but they need to go into sport. So it's not specifically for soccer, but in general, this government needs to realize that they have to bring kids into sports as quick as possible. Then soccer is also a pathway.
Do you feel that there's not enough youth actively involved in the management side or the philosophical side of football's development?
Well, I think that's growing because this country is now influenced by mainly the European clubs, by South American clubs, by Japan, Korea, and kids. That's the advantage nowadays from all those social media. They immediately know what's going on. Beckham has stopped, new coach is coming to Madrid, where's Mourinho going? And they discuss that. So football is popular, but not yet on the field, but more outside the field.
Again, you also mentioned Japan. I was going to get to that in a later question. They are an example, or Korea, for example, are an example of a new nation in the football world, but with a successful model. What can we learn from them?
There, the government and the Football Association went up together. So they created the facilities, the infrastructure, and the sport organized themselves in a way that it started with grassroots football. It had very good coach education nowadays, referee education, etc. If you look at the number of coaches, for an example, the licensed coaches that we have is maybe maximum 50. In Japan, they have 300,000.
Wow.
3,000. Yeah. So numbers.
So let's talk about some hurdles now. As we heard, the scout system is one of the things that we felt was perhaps not up to date. We said for players to reach the higher levels, they have to go through the state, but since there are no scouts in the States or technical directors as yet in the States, is this due to a money thing, or have you not got the manpower just yet in terms of people, or is it a combination?
It's just a money thing, because again, you mentioned my master plan. If the AIFF is able in the coming 10 years to implement the master plan, I can guarantee the success. If not, the success will never come. So now we started with grassroots football, but we have in the meantime only one development officer working in Mizoram, and we are now going to several other states, 5 more states already, but we need to have development officers as well over there. And the state association have no money. We don't have the money at the moment to do it. So we are now much waiting for the Under 17 World Cup. If that's granted to India, it will give an enormous boost to the popularity of football and hopefully to the government, and it will create more budget because sponsors coming in.
Are we really relying on that?
Well, that makes it much more faster, and otherwise it will hopefully slowly make steps. At least we have academies now. We have 3 and we should have 8. But we have them. We have our national teams better organized at the moment. We have better coach education. So it is starting, but it's not starting as fast as I was hoping.
Patience, basically, is the key. Apart from money and obvious infrastructure issues, what's the one thing that keeps you up at night?
What keeps me up?
Yeah.
That's that I'm getting too old now.
Oh dear.
So I have to accept now that I do my job till October, and then someone else has to take over. But hopefully the master plan will be implemented.
Okay, so it's designed to go on. It'll run without you.
Exactly.
It is a perfect system. Just needs the funding.
What I think is the future looks promising. It's going to happen, and especially the younger generation. So the younger coaches, the younger leaders in football now are taking action.